Hi class, as we discussed in our Zoom meeting this week, I have this fabulous recipe for Play-Doh, which is old. I got it from this long ago church cookbook, and so I had this star that I marked in here for when my kids were little, and so I'm gonna make the recipe for you today. I'm only gonna make a half recipe because I don't have any kids here at the house right now to play with it, although it is kind of good for stress therapy too. So, but today what we're gonna do is just make a half recipe, and so I've got my pot here, and I'm gonna start by adding 1 cup of water. Remember, this is a half recipe, so if I was doing it for a full class, I would definitely make the double recipe. So I've got 1 cup of flour. I'm gonna put in a half a cup of salt, and I'm just gonna eyeball it because fortunately it's fairly forgiving. I think that's about right. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, which I'm gonna stick in there. I'm gonna mix it up so it makes just kind of like a paste. I'm gonna turn it on low here. Let me check the recipe. It's been a while since I've made it. And it says over medium heat, but I'm gonna turn it up just a tiny bit. Now I've got this kind of bland paste in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and add my food coloring, and I'm choosing green because, as my daughter pointed out, we had lots of green in the cupboard. So I'm adding that in there, and that's gonna give me the color for my Play-Doh, and I can make it as vibrant as I want to. And according to my instructions, I am going to cook it over medium heat until everything is kind of absorbed, and you'll see the difference. I like to have vibrant Play-Doh, so I'm adding more. And that's pretty good. I'm trying to use up some of this green, so I'm gonna add a little tiny bit more. Okay, that's it, I promise. And now it's on medium heat, and I'm just going to let it stay like this. I'm gonna just keep mixing until that water is absorbed into the rest, and it'll turn into more like you would expect, almost like a pie crust. So it takes a few minutes for this to get going. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and then come back once it is firming up a little bit. Okay, as you can see, we are almost down to the right consistency. It's getting harder to stir, and you can see that when I pull it off the spoon, it's definitely more like a dough. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. And although the recipe calls for a wooden spoon, I actually, in the final stages, usually use just a regular spoon. And so I'm gonna pull this off of here, and I'm gonna actually put it out on this floured surface. I hope I can get it off the spoon. Hold on. Okay. And it's great because it just dissolves, you know, when you go to clean out your pot. And so here's my Play-Doh. I'm gonna put it in a little bit of flour to take some of the stickiness out when you first turn it out. But my finished product is incredibly soft, and I can just put it into a Ziploc bag. As we discussed in class, it's important to have children wash their hands before they play with Play-Doh, because we don't want them bringing germs to the Play-Doh and then passing that on to other children. But that's it, super easy Play-Doh. It stays very soft, and I think you'll be pleased with the recipe, which I will put in the weekly module. All right, have a great week. So I finished that last segment and then realized that there was something not quite right about the texture, and I realized that I forgot to add oil when I was making it. So I went ahead and added it after the fact, which tells me that the recipe is extremely forgiving. And now we've got awesome pliable dough. And you can see if I was a child using a cutter, it's fantastic. So I encourage you, if you have little ones or you're working with children, to go ahead and try it. And as I said before, I will go ahead and put the recipe in the weekly module.